Good evening. This is Pamela, and you're listening to Watchmen on the Pod. We are going to continue in our reading of The Fallen Sons of God by W.L. Price, and we are on the outline for the book. Okay. Part 1, The Struggles and Cycles of Spiritual Failure. Part 1 of my testimony will elaborate on the spiritual patterns of failure, which I constantly found myself in bondage to for years. I will start from the first moment that I had a revelation of the reality of God's presence in my life, which immediately led to the agonizing process of being purified through many tests and temptations. I will discuss my inability to handle the enormous pressures of life, which caused me to repeatedly fall back into my old self-destructive ways. I will explain the spiritual cycle of victory and defeat, from living in blissful joy to slipping backward into deep troubles and hitting rock bottom, crying out in painful sorrow, then finally being restored back once again to spiritual freedom, only to repeat the cycle of failure all over again. I will point out how my life continued to deteriorate as the pain and anguish increased each time I fell away from God, until I was utterly engulfed with despair. Part 2, Finally Walking in Freedom. In Part 2 of my testimony, I will discuss the many practical elements that are involved with living in total freedom and victory from all the spiritual bondage of sin, failure, and defeat. I will show you how you can become confident in knowing where you will go when you die. I will clarify how absolutely essential grace and faith are to permanent spiritual victory, revealing the missing elements of strong faith and how to obey God's seemingly impossible commands by simply using faith. I will also point out how crucial it is to live in the moment of each day without the overwhelming pressures of tomorrow, the differences between knowing and doing the will of God, as well as the importance of connecting to a network of believers or support groups. Finally, I will elaborate on the promises and warnings of God, discuss how to grow in a deeper relationship with God, and share with you a priceless treasure of scriptures that serve as a spiritual food and nourishment. I'm going to stop it there, and then we will begin with chapter 1 next time around. I love you all so very much. Keep your eyes on Jesus, your nose in the book, and embed the Word of God upon the tablets of your heart so you will not sin against Him. Till next time, goodbye.